Hi everybody, welcome to the third episode of Unparalleled. I'm really excited about this episode. So today I get to chat to my co-founder, my business partner, my friend Aludia Binos, who we built Sempar with over the last 10 years. Sempar's just about to turn 10 years old next month. So very much this is a journey down memory lane. It's also a look to the future, and go through those times where we had to dig deep as business partners. We had to, you're going to get to hear our stories, sort of warts and all, and very much what drove the success, where did Sempar get born from, all the highlights and the lowlights over those times. I'm sure there'll be plenty of laughs, plenty of tears. I'm really glad that you've joined me for this, and I'm really can't wait to get on with our chat today. So here we go, episode 3. Decisions we made on a day-to-day basis would take you closer to them goals. We were then fueling our business success with our personal success, which I just think was a kind of game changer, really. And the fact that Sempar meant unparalleled, it had no equal, that was exactly what we wanted Sempar to represent. We wanted it to come in and stir the pot a bit. You started mood boarding and...
Yeah. I get you to mood board now every year, don't I?
But I think that was a massive change.
Yeah, we've always, whenever something lands, it was like, what needs to be done? And it's like, well, let's just crack on and get it done.
We painted the picture of what Sempar would look like in the future. I don't think we'd be far off today of what we would have thought what was possible in 10 years.
Yeah.
Hi everybody, welcome to the third episode of Unparalleled, and this is the one that I've certainly been waiting for. I couldn't wait to have this conversation, so welcome to Unparalleled to Aludia Binos.
Hi Steve.
Hi, are you okay?
Yes, it's probably the first time I actually said my last name correctly. Well done.
After 20 years. Yeah. So, for those of you who don't know, Aludia is one of the co-founders. Me and Aludia are the co-founders of Sempar, the accountancy and tax brand. And today we're going to talk about 10 years, aren't we?
Yeah.
Because as of next month, Sempar's 10 years old.
Yeah. Can't quite believe it.
Time fly when you're having fun.
This is it. Definitely feels a lot longer than 10 years.
Yeah. Well, we've worked together for a long time, haven't we? So I think on count it's probably about 15 to 20 years, something like that. So,
yeah, 20 years.
So we must do something right because we're still together, working together. So
this is it.
It can't have all been bad, can it?
No, not at all.
But yeah, no. So 10 years at Sempar this March, which is really exciting, and to see what Sempar is today compared to us two sat in a pub in March or February 2016. Trying to come up with a name and a business plan over a drink was, to see it today, and employing over 30 people, and all the clients we look after, and the amazing team we've got. So I think where we are is I'm not saying we didn't envisage that, but it is great to sit this side of it and look back over those 10 years. So
yeah, and I don't think we do it enough. Just to actually sit back and look back and see how far we've grown since then.
Because we spend too much looking forward, that's why. The focus has always been looking forward and not dwelling too much on the past and pushing on, isn't it? So, but we've always had that vision, haven't we? We've always had that initial vision, which was look out the window, see two queues of people, a queue of people who want to work with us and a queue of people who want to work for us. And that, I don't think that was a simple analogy at the time, but I think that hasn't really changed, does it? Yeah,
no, not at all. And I feel like we have got that, just looking at, the people that we have got, upstairs, and, the clients that we work with, it's those people that, we've always kind of dreamed of working with. So
it's testament to both the recruitment, we haven't really ever had to spend too much money with recruitment agencies. I'm not saying that they do a bad job, but just because people have naturally gravitated towards us, and from a marketing perspective, obviously we've got the wonderful Emily who's sat behind the camera over there, but a lot of our marketing is self-taught. It's been organic. It hasn't been, we've not gone and paid for leads and things like that. So, again, the client base has naturally come towards Sempar, hasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, no, everything, well, most of our clients, we've got through client referrals, haven't we? So, and all our existing contacts. So, and that's internally and externally.
So for those of you who don't know, Sempar means unparalleled. So that's where the name of the podcast comes from. So when we were trying to come up with a name, Sempar in Portuguese is Sempar. We've got no affiliation to Portugal at all, other than it's a lovely place. Other than it's a lovely place to go on holiday. But we just wanted a name that we could buy the domain, that was short, that we could put our heart and soul in. And the fact that Sempar meant unparalleled, it had no equal, that was exactly what we wanted Sempar to represent. We wanted it to come in and stir the pot a bit, show the accountancy industry, what's possible, but also what we should be representing. And so that gave us that kind of vision, able to put a vision to that and a business plan and everything else. But I guess sort of like looking back over those sort of 10 years and what we are today, what do you think, what does Sempar represent for you today?
Oh gosh, that's a difficult one. I guess it's that connection and having that like family feel and, being able to just being able to wake up and actually be excited about like coming to work and, working with, people that you actually like get along with and you're not just like there to actually, work with them. I see the people that we've got upstairs as like, our own families. And I just love like how everyone's grown like over the last 10 years, and I feel like that's a big
and how they pull
achievement.
together as well. We're in an industry that's not always easy. It's a lot of there can be a lot of hard work that required for clients, and everyone has each other's back, don't they?
Yeah, exactly. I'm really proud of like the culture that we've built, and it's something that we've always talked about. When we set the business up, and I'm just like so proud that we have actually got that team that we've always kind of like dreamed of working with. So I don't know if that's the same for you. Yeah,
100%. For me, it's always been about the people. It's all the way through all our vision and mission. The people was always the centerpiece of everything. So if we got our business right for the people who work for us, if we created the right environment, if we got the business right for the clients who want to work with us, and we got that piece right, then the rewards would be there for us, and it was never by it was by design, but it was never something where we said, well, let's build a business that's going to give you X amount of money and me X amount of money. We built the right business and got rewarded for doing it. That's how I see how Sempar was created. It was very much that we put our heart and soul into something, and we will get onto the heart and soul piece in a bit, but we put our heart and soul in it for not us at all, really, for the people who are going to work in that business, for the people who are going to be advised by that business. And out of it, we had a business that we were really proud of, that gives us the life that we want, and hopefully we'll continue to do that, and for more people who are part of it. And then we're able to use some of that reward to have a greater impact in community and do some great projects and things that we're really proud of. So for me, it doesn't work without people. It doesn't work without people, and I always say that it's about telling stories. So it's nice to sit here and be able to tell stories of either about people who've been part of the team or are part of the team, or clients that we've looked after who've gone on to great success, or like you say, about just individual growth. I know me and you have grown over those 10 years in a lot of experience and knowledge, but also, we've also learned a lot about ourselves and each other through that time, and that's enabled this to be even more successful. So it's nice. We've got team members now that are coming up to working for us for 10 years, as well as 5 years or 7 years, and seeing who they, take somebody like James, who was our kind of first apprentice, and then became our kind of, he's been with us nearly 7 or 8 years now, probably even longer. and he now runs our digital side of the business. You know, he's in his mid-20s now. He's now cohabiting and you know, moving on his own life as well. So, you know, we've seen him grow from an 18-year-old who was really keen and brought something different to our organisation, but now is a major player in what we do and has a real influence on where the business is going to be in the future. So stories like that, I think, are just amazing to sit back and think about the growth that we see in the people that are in the business and, you know, and the client base, and seeing that growth, you know, seeing people go from, you know, start up to exit and things like that. It's just great to be part of that journey, isn't it? Yeah,
again, that's like something, again, one of the things that, you know, we should really be proud of, that, you know, we've got such a low kind of staff turnover rate. And I was listening to a podcast the other day, and basically they were saying that, you know, it's not all about like being in charge, it's about looking after those in your charge. And I was listening and I was like, you know what, I feel like we have done that. We have, you know, looked after the team, you know, right from the start, because that's what we've always set out to do. And I just, again, I don't feel like we celebrate that enough.
And I think it's easy to do that now because we're successful as a business and we've got, you know, we've got resource behind us to do that. I think in the early days, we had to really want to do it. I think which we did really want to do it. But I mean, obviously, when we're a startup accountancy brand, you know, there's not a lot of money around. You're sort of more hand to mouth as a business. We're driving it forward, so we're financing growth. We're hiring people that, you know, inevitably we've not got a substantial amount of cash behind us to hire. And, you know, we're still very true to our values that we still create from day one the environment that is the right environment. So we never sort of shortcut it. We always went from it from day one. We went out there and said, this is what it needs to look like. This needs to be a thrive environment. It needs to be somewhere where somebody can be the best they possibly can be. We need to look after them in the right way. And we did that from day one. And I think what we see now is some of the success that, you know, it's easy to all the soft stuff now. It's easy to have the wellness piece. You know, the environment's amazing here at Kiel. You know, but that feels easy now, whereas it was hard before. But it always never really. Me and you would go without before we'd ever take that back step on that decision, wouldn't we? So no, definitely. Like we've always, I think the focus before has always just been like on the business, hasn't it? And like growing the business and making sure that, you know, we are delivering, you know, all the work to our clients and stuff like that. But I feel like we're at a position now where, you know, we can, you know, spend more time, you know, with the team, growing or making our environment even better. And also like on the wellness side of things as well. And we're not just kind of constantly just like running 100 mile an hour. So I feel like we have slowed down a little bit. So. You've just had a 3-month sabbatical, haven't you? So you've had 3 months in the semi-sun in the Philippines. How was that? Was that nice to take that break?
Yeah, it sure was. And again, you know, we wouldn't have had that, what's the word? Opportunity to do that.
Oh, of course,
You know, back then, because we've just always prioritized the business. So I'm definitely grateful that, you know, we were in the position, or the business was in the position for me to have that time off. And, you know, that's something that, you know, I'll never forget. But no, absolutely amazing time. You know, after 10 years, I needed the reset.
No, you definitely earned it. And,
but no.
It was definitely, you know, something we talked about for a while now, to go and do that. And it gave us the opportunity as well to sort of free you up from the team, free you into a position now that you can have real influence over the next, you know, number of years that we want to continue to keep growing the business. And so, you know, it feels like we've come back into something that's really exciting. Absolutely. And we can really sort of now, you know, both of us are kind of have worked our way out of some of the day-to-day now, so we're very much able to be more strategic and stay in that space, which has definitely been something that we weren't. If we go back to the start, you know, being strategic was definitely for outside of office hours, and certainly for the first 4 or 5 years, we were foot to the floor, weren't we? You know, we were growing every year, we were really pushing it, but it came at, it certainly came at a cost to both of us from a like a personal lifetime thing, but certainly sat here, feels worth it.
Yeah.
That sacrifice now, nothing's ever created without some sort of compromise or sacrifice, but I feel like those first few years were fairly tough, weren't they?
Yeah, well, I think you saw me more than your wife the first 5 years.
So we were often sat at the office at 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night.
Sometimes later.
And sometimes later. Or
back in at 6 o'clock in the mornings.
but through that time, and although that was, you were sort of mid-20s and sort of committing your kind of social life to that. I just had children and was sort of missing spending time with them, and was very lucky to have Claire, my wife, behind me, who would very much had my back and enabled a lot of this, because I think if I didn't have that, then this would have been a lot harder to have created at that time. But I think looking back at that sacrifice, we were able to do that because we were always very clear on where we were going. It was never like a static position, was it? It was never that we were in this and going, oh my God, we just can't get out of it. It's not, this isn't getting any better. Because we always had that forward thinking, we knew we were on a journey. We knew this was just a hard bit of the road. We had bumps in the road, we had whatever was in our way, but we were always going to get through it, and it was always going to be something that we were able to strategize later down the line. Yeah. But when do you think, because I've got a good idea in my head on this, but I'm interested in your thoughts. I always think there was a moment where things started to change, and there was some things that we did as business partners and as sort of friends and colleagues that for each other that changed Sempar forever, really. What do you think the moment was where we started to come out of that kind of crazy day-to-day?
God, I don't know how long ago this was. I don't know if it was maybe 5 years ago. I mean, it feels like it was...
It feels longer, doesn't it? Yeah, it feels longer.
It feels longer, but maybe, 5 years ago. I don't know, I just got to a point, because we were just, working so hard, and I got to the point where I was just like, this is not going to be sustainable. Yeah. I've got to make some changes, some serious changes, if we want to be in the business, long term. Yeah. And it was at that point where I just, stepped back and then just had a good think about what's really important. Yeah. And obviously, one of those things was, health. Yeah. So obviously, if, I wanted, longevity, we needed to, set some boundaries.
Yeah. And some goals, because I think we started to sort of look at goals as well, didn't we? We started to, but one of the things we did very, very well was that we actually decided to look at each other's goals. Yeah. So
personal goals.
I think it was really important. That was a really important time, wasn't it, when we sort of sat down and went, well, actually, what do you want to achieve? Yeah. What's the next 5 years, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years look like for you? And you asked the same question to me, and we were able to you started mood boarding and... Yeah.
I get you to mood board now every year, don't I?
But I think that was a massive change. Yeah. And I think because of that, that's when I know you talk about the word boundaries, and anybody who's close to us knows that we talked about boundaries quite a while ago, and I managed to stick to those. I think when we were working round the clock, you got so familiar with talking to each other at silly times and needing help. Yeah,
just pick up the phone.
So I used to pick the phone up at most hours to you if I needed help with anything, and we managed to stick to our 9 o'clock curfew now, haven't we? So
just about.
But only in emergencies. But in joking aside, that I think having appreciation for each other's lives, and I think I would say this to any business duo, business trio, whatever, whether you're in a partnership or you're co-directors or whatever, just take a minute. Don't always look through the lens through your own eyes. Being able to understand what you really wanted to achieve in your life, and then being able to back you on that, actually, I think is a really huge part of the second half of our success. Yeah. And knowing that that decisions we made on a day-to-day basis would take you closer to them goals, we were then fueling our business success with our personal success. Yeah. which I just think was a kind of game changer, really.
Yeah.
And the acceleration of the business once we started to do that was completely different, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think that alignment was really important. I mean, we've always had that shared vision from the start anyway, which I think was like really important, because we had, like you said, when we were in those dark days, like that's what kept us going, that shared vision that we had. But aligning our personal goals with our business goals, like you said, just absolutely makes a difference. And I feel like we supported each other's goals then.
I think we might be overpainting the dark picture a little bit. So, although it was tough, it wasn't not fun, was it? We enjoyed it. It was great. It wasn't. It was just hard work, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, we wouldn't be here if we didn't. Enjoy those days.
But I genuinely think that kind of just understanding that you had, whether that be sort of health goals, time out goals, wellness things, buying your house and getting on the property ladder and moving forward like that, and then as we've done these, we usually do them just after Christmas, don't we? Where we sit down and go through our kind of mood board and goals and everything else. Just having that real appreciation for each other, that was a massive sort of step forward in how we took the business forward. And I think it's actually then woven into how we treat clients and how we talk to the team and how we talk to. Now we're very lucky to have more business partners in Sempar, and how we talk to them, and we have appreciation for their own lives and business plans, personal plan as well. So it's definitely something that's now become woven into our success, really, and hopefully something we carry on doing. And but I think don't you think it's interesting that you as soon as you started to focus, and I think what actually happened at that time as well was that once we started to look at goals, you start to naturally set things that are not where you are today. So you naturally set in a goal that for you, or for when I'm doing it for me, that's beyond where we are at the moment. And then, of course, you get there, you've got to invest in yourself, haven't you? So over the last 5 or 6 years, I think another thing we've done is invest massively in personal development, haven't we? Even things that are non-related to the business and things like that. What do you think how do you think if you go back to Aludia 2016, sat thinking about that company name and walking into that little office, me and you in there, what do you think? How could you educate that person today? What have you learned over those years that you think, I wish I could go back and tell her? What do you think's the biggest part of your growth over that time personally?
I think personally, I guess that it will all work out. Because, I mean, look where we are now. Because, again, I guess at the start, when you're just so into it, there were moments where it's oh my God, when is it ever going to get better? Because we constantly just head down. There was a period of time where I felt when you're just working too hard and it's just you're not pleasing anyone, and it's I
think you are very much in that world where it doesn't matter how hard you work, the treadmill carries on. So you finish a day, and in our world there was always another task. There was always something else to do, wasn't there? And we were so dedicated to our client bank and our team that we were never gonna. And I think that the two of us, personality-wise, are a great duo in terms of that. But we almost needed. We're very much don't say no to anybody, do we?
No.
Or certainly we've learned how to do that over time. But back then we were very much. We just want to help people. We both had that kind of belief that if you help people, the good things happen back, and you get that repayment. So, but I think over those years, certainly those early years, it was just all one-way traffic, and I can understand where we both were in that position where how do we get this to be easier? And I think it's going back to that self-development. Once we both went on a self-development journey, which I think is really fueled where we are today, really. So.
Yeah, that's it. Because there was a period of time where we were doing our best. It's just we're working so hard, we're doing our best, but feel we're not getting any further. So I think that's when I just like sat down and was like, right, what have I got to do to make myself better? And there was a few things that I did. I started listening to podcasts. Literally, like every morning on my way to work, I would listen to podcasts. I know it's just like, it could be like a 20-minute podcast, or it could be longer, but I picked up a lot of things, from that, in terms of like looking after the client, but also like how to manage a team better, how to manage workload, how to manage kind of like your mental health. And then from there, I just kind of started like building like new habits. And, focus on like getting enough sleep and, making sure that we have time for ourselves. I mean, I'm not obviously like been blessed yet with like a family, but, I do like just like spending time on my own and just like having that moment of solitude and just that moment of just feeling grateful, because I feel like we just forget like what actually is important. So like I think practicing gratitude has made me kind of realize and appreciate like the little things. So and I think
I think there's a lot of time gone, isn't there? You talk about 10 years. At the start of those 10 years, you were what, 26, sort of 36. 36 now. So I think very much like there was a lot of your time, and you always said to me, because I used to say, look, you've worked loads of hours. Let's sort you out with some bonus, or let's reward you for. And you always used to say to me, it's like, no, it's time invested. I don't need that. It's time invested. Invest in my time. And so, and I'm really pleased that like those 10 years have given you the rewards you've wanted, but also that we've found a way to work through them without losing, like getting to burnout and getting to like places like that where, I think Instagram and social media paints this picture that, money's fast and wealth is easy and growth is just a press of a button on a computer or an ad, pay for an ad, and it really isn't a reality.
No, not at all.
And if you want really soulful growth, which is like to actually be able to feel, touch a business, to see that, there's a real core there, there's real values there, there's a stickiness to it in terms of that the team doesn't want to leave, the clients don't want to leave, then that can't be created with just 10 minutes and a few videos and a few paid ads and things like that. It has to have a core, doesn't it? And so I think if either of us haven't been present for that 10 years, I know that me and you always played different roles in that core, and often it comes back to that kind of partnership where you don't see the world through your own eyes all the time, but like I always remember seeing, we always saw things slightly differently but also similar at the same time. So but we also appreciated and respected each other enough to listen to each other. So if we were discussing something and you said, I really think this, it was always heard, and we always changed, we always changed tact, we always listened to each other. I think like that partnership was so important to that I called it soulful growth, which the soul of the business it's come from our heartbeat, and yes, we're so lucky now to have another couple of people who are going to become, and it now becomes a heartbeat of four, and it's evolving and it's going, and that's always for the better and always for the future. But if you look at those sort of 10 years, you go that it had to have our heartbeat in it, and I think to have our heartbeat in it, we gave everything to it, I think the times we talk about that were tough, they were also the times where that was being set, and I think like if it had been easy, it might not have been as soulful and as sticky as it is now. No, I totally agree. Like we've always had that like will do, can do attitude, haven't we? Like we've always, I don't know, whenever something lands, it was like what needs to be done, and it's like, well, let's just crack on and get it done. So. And we always used to say, what's the right thing? Where we had difficult decisions to make and things like that. It's like, what's the right thing to do? Let's just do the right thing, regardless. And I think, like, I sort of look back now and I don't think we ever really made that many, and it seems an odd thing to say, but actually that many financial decisions. It felt like we always had cultural thinking, we always had people decisions to make, but then we're never really financial, we never really sat down and forecasted growth and things like that. That we knew the growth was coming, we knew if we did the right things, it would come to us. And really the decisions we made were more creating the environment, getting the right people. How do we help them be more of the right people? How do we develop ourselves? I think I look back and I can't remember us having a financially based board meeting or anything like that. It just didn't need to happen.
No, I mean, we've always said that the financial side just follows.
Takes care of itself. Yeah,
that's it. So we've never had to worry about that, as long as we're obviously getting all the client and, the people side right.
It's, I don't know about you, but I certainly sit here now being 10 years into Sempar, and I feel like if we could have painted the picture of what Sempar would look like in the future, I don't think we'd be far off today of what we would have thought what was possible in 10 years.
Yeah.
I feel like we're definitely not done though.
No.
In terms of like we've regalvanised ourselves after that kind of first few years of tough work. We've managed to strategize really well over the last 5 years, and now we've put ourselves into a position where we've got a real foundation for sort of future growth and trying to take this vision that we have for Sempar and what it means and take it further afield. I think is where we're trying to aim with it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't even think we've scratched the surface. I mean, we haven't really gone out there yet and actually talked about us and what we can do as a business for the businesses. I know it starts here. But yeah, I feel like now is probably like the best time to to do all that, because we're now in the right environment. We've got the right people. We've got the time in our hands as well. So it's like the perfect opportunity to fly, really.
I think we've certainly got ideas of taking Sempar from a sort of regional brand and trying to grow that into a national brand, really. I think we're everybody does it differently. We do it our way. From an accountancy perspective, we always tried to be agile from a service perspective. So if you look at the services we offer today, they've absolutely changed from year one. That will continue to evolve. We're very tech-minded, we're very innovative in terms of delivery and what we take to clients. But I really feel like we've always, even though we've been smaller, we've always took a view that we really took responsibility for that accountancy industry piece. Really sort of challenge what the accountant means to the client. And I think when we sit back and look at some of the marketing case studies we've done, some of the conversations I've had with clients over the years, a lot of the client isn't really, thanking us for completing accurate compliance work and making sure my tax return goes in on, a lot of the feedback is that you're part of the fabric of our business. You're part of my decision making. You're like, and we always say it's about having one foot in their camp and one foot in our camp. But that also makes scale challenging, because obviously it's far easier to scale a business that is you can just press repeat. And obviously what we've achieved over the last 10 years comes from the heart. It comes from being dedicated to a client. It comes from being personal with that and really understanding the depth of that client. So I feel like the last sort of few years have been working out how we then take that and repeat it. And it really does come back to people, doesn't it? Getting the right people through the door.
I was just going to say, it's all down to the people. I mean, obviously now with all the, AI and the technology, rising, I think obviously there's a lot of areas that you can automate, like low-level tasks and stuff. But in terms of the advisory and having that, the people, the heart and stuff, you can't automate that.
No.
And we really, and that's where we really, that's why we're spending time growing and, educating and nurturing our people, because that's what our clients look for.
Yeah, and I think we're very mindful that the future has to still be that human to human when we're advisory, when it's strategic, and then it's really about underpinning that with the with things like AI. And so where we're very enthused in technology is very much around making that advisory easier, but still keeping that kind of human interaction for our client base as we move forward. Because I think, you know, that has been the heartbeat of everything we've done. Has always been that kind of human piece, the bit where, you know, back when we only had a very small office, we used to do everything at clients. Yeah. We really got to understand the client in real depth. We still do that today, and probably do it slightly differently, but very much, you know, understanding that client, you know, the learning that we've had from our kind of personal development, we've woven into our kind of client experience. So understanding that discovery initially of a client, understanding how their goals and dreams change over time, and how we know we can influence whether they're successful or not. And that educational piece is training the team to be able to deliver that, as well as training the clients and educating the clients to deliver it themselves and things like that. So I feel like we've got to a point where it's now time for us to sort of really push on and take that further afield.
No, absolutely. But also another thing that our clients like value us for is sharing our story with them. Like everything we've learned like over the last 10 years. You know, I have a few clients like say, oh, I'd love to know like how you manage this and how you deal with this. So, and I think they really value that because we have gone through those challenges that they are going through now. And I think that, you know, they really like to hear like, you know, or they like the advice, obviously, from our past experiences.
I think it works both ways, doesn't it? I think it's a really great way of saying it, but I think our clients are our biggest kind of fans, and I don't mean that in a kind of applaud way, more that they want to see our business, you know, rather than having an accountancy business where they go, oh, we don't want you to get too big and we don't want things to change. I think they trust us to nurture that business so that it doesn't change, but they still want us to be successful. So they actually get great enjoyment out of seeing our success and our journey, and they want to know more about it because we've got that connection. In the same way, we take great pride and pleasure in seeing our clients meet success and hit goals and milestones. And so I think because it's both ways, and I think the one thing that we've always talked about, and it was a kind of non-negotiable all the way through, is that the people we have in the business have always got to have natural enthusiasm. And although it's not one of our, it's kind of a behaviour that's within our values, isn't it? But for us, that having that at everyone's core means that when the clients ring up or they talk to the team are enthusiastic about helping them. They're enthusiastic about their business, and you get that enthusiasm back. And so the thing that you're experiencing with clients asking you, tell me about this, tell me how did you deal with that? It's enthusiasm for the journey, and that's come from our own enthusiasm for them. And it just means that the whole thing works great together. And it means that, kind of going back to what you said about getting up in the morning and coming to work, never feels like a chore. You know, it now feels like it's an enjoyable experience. That means that you're going to learn something every day. Someone's going to challenge on something every day. You're going to hear a success point every day. I mean, I feel really the way we run the business and the way the team are, that we have very few sort of negative conversations about whether that be client related, team related. You know, we're not dreading somebody walking in and handing their notice in. We're not worried that a client's going to leave. You know, for me personally, those thoughts never even enter my head. You know, it's all about going forward. It's all about moving forward and positivity. And largely, it's a great experience to come into Sempar every day and be part of the team. And,
no, definitely. Like you said, it's a non-negotiable for us, and it's something that, you know, we're always looking for, like whenever we, you know, recruit and have new people on board, because everything else you can teach, but they've got to have that, you know, that natural enthusiasm.
So 10 years. What if you had to pick a highlight out of the 10 years? What would be your you know, it doesn't have to be the best moment. It could be the most pivotal moment. It could be something that was a.
Can you go first?
Can I go first?
You go first. What's your highlight?
So
I need to just have a think about it. 10 years is a long time.
So 10 years, I think there's probably there's a lot. I mean, if we think about the things that we've probably celebrated, you know, being being nominated and winning Zero Mid-Firm of the Year a few years back now.
Yeah,
that was something that we perhaps didn't envisage, and it was we always had this kind of fight on our hands that we were a smaller firm, but doing, leading the way in sort of the tech side. So, to be recognised in that field, I know it's something you put a lot of work into. So, to be recognised in that was definitely something that I felt like was a real moment that said, actually, someone's seen now what we're all about, what we've done, and be rewarded for that. So I think from an award perspective, that was definitely a highlight. But I also think, each one of the people that we brought into the business, every hire has been a step forward. Certainly going back to, and probably take for granted a little bit more now, bringing new people into the business. But if you go back and you think about, James coming into the business and Beth coming into the business, who are still with us today, they're huge highlights that we've reaped the rewards of the investment we put into them, but also their hard work and everything else. I think like bringing Lisa on, who was our sort of first manager, who was there to take a bit of weight off and give us more strategic time. All of those, Em, who's behind the camera today, just actually taking the biting the bullet and fueling somebody into marketing and being able to support their growth and do things like that. So I think like, even today, new Beth joining, so we're growing our tax team. So I feel like each one of those is a bit of a highlight as well. Moving here at Kiel, I'm trying not to steal yours now, but like,
no, it's fine.
but moving to Kiel, I think it's a game changer for us. Really, we've got enough room here to continue to grow. To really embed this HQ, and how we take the business forward. I feel like it's a move that will never. You can never say never, but I don't feel like we'll ever leave Kiel. I think Sempar feels like it's.
Said that about Campbell 2 years ago, so and look where we are now.
but I think we've got enough commitment from university that if we need a bigger place, we can get a bigger place, and so I feel like, and it just seems to fit with the ethos and the fact that we can go and walk the countryside at lunchtime, and the team are very much embedded here now, aren't they? Even though they've only been here a year. So Kiel was definitely another highlight. What about, have you thought of yours?
Yes. I mean, like you said, every single recruit certainly, played a part. We wouldn't be here, obviously, without every single one of them. But I feel like now we're probably at that point where we're in harmony. Like, I feel like we have got...
Flow. Everyone says flow, don't they?
Flow.
We're in our flow.
Flow. I feel like we've got the right team now, and I feel like, we're starting the year in such a strong position. Hitting our first mill.
Yeah, hitting our first mill was good.
That was a good year. Yeah. We got to see you cry.
For anyone, obviously that's an internal joke. But I had to do I did a speech, didn't I? And,
you couldn't hold yourself.
Yeah, no. Well, I think what you saw then was very much like the sacrifice and the things. It felt like a moment that where I had to say thank you to you and to Claire and that. I am a heart on my sleeve man. I am an emotional person, so I was perhaps proud to get a little bit emotional, but thank God Lisa was there. She managed to finish
to read your speech.
Finish my speech for me. But that just shows you it's real, doesn't it? It's not like it's not an act. It's this business means, when we talk about heart and soul, the business, it is our heart and soul, and it is something that we very much have valued over the years, and we put everything into it. So the fact that when it does hit those success milestones, it is emotional, isn't it? It is part of that. So I'm not. I've got over my embarrassment about that now. So it was only a group of trusted people. So.
But like jokes aside, obviously that shows that having a good support system. Obviously, like, makes a massive difference.
100%. And I know people who like other clients we talk to, or friends who have been around us both for like that time, and I think the secret of some of the success is that we've always had each other's back, even if you don't agree with each other. We've not had that many crosswords or disagreements over that time. But I think even when we haven't agreed with each other, we've never lost that respect for each other.
Yep.
And I think, and also that kind of where we want each other to be happy. We never like wanted unhappiness on either. We've never been them people. Mm-hmm. So even if we've got to somewhere, a decision or a discussion where we don't really agree with each other, then that kind of pursuit of happiness for each other and respect for each other never leaves. It actually becomes a stronger point in it because you really want to help the other person. Yeah. So again, it's that kind of perspective piece. But I think that's really helped us just not, I can't remember really that many times where we've, you've probably got a better memory than me about that though. So
no, there's not been many times. It might have just been a couple of times. Yeah, but I don't think there's been... There's
been more laughs and tears, hasn't there?
Definitely, and it's been absolutely worth it. So.
Yeah, it's and I guess like personally, what do you think when you sit back now at 10 years and go, like we talked about all the business success, but what's probably the biggest personal success you've had over that time? Because obviously you're talking about that leading the business success. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, gosh, there's quite a few. On the personal side, I feel like being kind of that mentor and like, people like looking up to me. Like, I still like can't believe that I've actually got people obsessed that do look up to me. And yeah, it still like humbles myself whenever, somebody say that, they really look up to me and stuff like that. But yeah, I think just like hearing people like say that.
Yeah, that you have an influence on them. And
that's it. Because, I feel like that is obviously the result of everything that we've gone through, like over the last 10 years, all the growth. I feel like I've obviously like grown up, as a person, but also as like a business owner over the last 10 years. I mean, we didn't know what we were doing 10 years ago, where we
no.
It was nothing about running a business.
Pure enthusiasm and I always say this to people. There was no business plan. To a certain degree, it was a really strong vision. Yeah. We really knew where we were going, and I feel like when you really know where you're going, it's really difficult as an advisor to say you don't need a business plan. I think we did a lot of the planning in our own, through conversation. It doesn't necessarily have to be a report on a page and everything else. I think we constantly lived it and breathed it. That we were constantly planning. But I think that vision has never really changed. Yeah. It's evolved more than it's changed, and it's always been there, and it's always been the thing that's driven us forward. So I feel like what we then did halfway through was align that and put alongside it was our personal visions, and then fueled it even further. So it feels like that vision that we had was always the light, it was always the thing you aimed for, and actually it meant that the little knocks, the little setbacks, and things like that, they didn't really hurt. They just bounced off because we knew and we believed in each other and we believed in the team that we would always get there. And that's why it's really important to reflect now, but also it's always really important to go, that vision's still bright and it's still over there and it's still driving us forward today. We've still got to just keep reinventing it, keep having that evolution of what we want that to look like, and that will continue to drive us. And still today, we don't have a huge amount of a business plan, but we talk about it. We meet regularly with the other senior leadership team. We evolve it. The day-to-day continues to evolve, and it continues to work.
Yeah, this is it.
And we keep that agility, because I think over the years we've had to be agile, and that's been another reason why we've been able to pivot and change direction and move. Even though we've got this strong vision, it's not always a straight line that you go in, and we've always been able to do that really quickly. We keep that today, so that's very much something that we're proud of. If we need to change, everything outside of the windows is a changeable world, and we've got to be able to react to that. So.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like we always ask ourselves, is there another way? Because I feel like there's always another way. So.
Yeah, it is. It's one of those things where we know that there's always a change in direction at some point. And what we have got is a team that changes with us. No one pushes back against certainly technological change. The team just take that in their stride. They're used to it. We've always had it. It's an evolution. It's always something that's been there. It's a constant that we've always changed tech all the time. We've always reinvented tech, and you know, especially with the work that James is doing now in the business, that's going to be even more quicker and faster as we go forward, and we never really get pushed back from anybody.
Yeah, no, they've always
I think it's trust, isn't it?
Yeah, but also they've always been supportive and, you know, embraced everything that, you know, we've put in place. But we also, like, we always get their contribution, don't we? Because, you know, some of the ideas that, you know, we do come up with does come from the team there.
And
what
about?
Well,
sorry,
no, I was going to say, I was going to ask
what
your... I was going to say what yours was.
Personal. I mean, I think getting ourselves into a point where I can be really consistent at home is a massive step forward for me. Whereas, like, obviously initially when we started the business, and Maisie would be about 3 or 4, or Rosie would be like 1 or 2, and you know, my home life with like Claire and the kids was really inconsistent. I'd either be there or wouldn't be there. I didn't know whether I was going to be there or wasn't going to be there. So, you know, that side of it, and you know, that was really hard. And obviously in those years as well, we've had, like, you know, like any family, you know, people leave us and things like that, and they've been tough. And so actually being present more as a you know, as in that family, and being able to be consistent, you know, not you know, keeping weekends that are family related, having more time outside of, you know, being home at a reasonable hour and stuff like that. So as a development, that then give you a foundation to sort of invest in me as well. So, like, I think because I always felt like I needed to repay that time where I wasn't there as often, it took me a little while longer to get to that personal piece, because I felt like I had to sort of give back to that first, and that was really important to me to do that. Then I think from a sort of family piece now, it's very much about, you know, building on that and taking that forward. But for me personally, it's always about individual growth as well, and just trying to learn, you know, more about myself, more about what I'm capable of, more about, you know, how I can use all of that to make this a better environment, to make this more successful, and you know, and be able to influence the team as well, in terms of, like, I think what big thing for me is seeing the team grow, and not just from a work perspective, but as people. And you know, one of our kind of part of our mission is for the team to be the best version of themselves, and I feel like we're both now in a position where we're able to perhaps mentor the team a bit more about that, and a bit more experienced in that area. So you know, but never. Also, every day is a school day, so you don't know everything. You're not the expert. You know, you're just a student. You're always the student. So this is certainly that bit for me personally, just to have that foundation of normality has been a really. It sounds a bit. It's a feeling. It doesn't necessarily sound like an achievement, because I think there's probably a lot of people who work 9 to 5 who have that and think, oh well, you built this business, I had that anyway. And I think that's why success is it's more of an opinion than it is a fact, in terms of, like, everyone's success is their own, isn't it? Exactly. So I think from in terms of, like, maybe a moment, being able to take a significant time, like you've done recently. I did that a couple of years ago, and had some time in Australia with a really good friend of mine, took the family over, and we had a lot of time out down there. So that felt like a moment of success, where I didn't take my laptop, didn't work, turned off, you know, and actually was able to do that with full trust of everything that was here, and you know, that, I think that feeling of, if you're not here, you know, I'm suffer from FOMO a little bit.
We all know.
But in reality, you know, not having to worry about that was a real. You know, being able to just go in and do that. And we did something similar in September, where we went and walked the Camino. And again, that was quite a nice experience, because it was often I did it with friends, but it was sort of, you had time with friends, time on your own, time with people you didn't know. And again, you sort of, like, look back and think, well, you took time out there, and everything was. So I think I've got a foundation now where I can start to think about what the future holds, what challenges you want to set yourself for the future. So I think the evolution of goals as well, the goals have changed. If you think back to that first, I remember sitting downstairs in the boardroom at Limedale with our kind of mood boards and chatting around it. But the reality was that those goals now, they're constants in our lives, and actually the goals we're setting now are more challenging, and we're able to feel like things are more achievable. And so I think just the feeling of where we are is probably the biggest success, is that that kind of balance in life is there. And
I feel like we are certainly getting there now, aren't we? Where we are getting that balance right. But I think that is just a testament to what we've built, and the team that we've got. Like I said, we wouldn't be able to have had those time off without the team that we've got.
No, 100%. No, and we've been very fortunate with the people that have come in to join the journey, and hopefully everyone stays for a long time.
Yeah,
so.
No, I'm sure they will.
So just to reverse the questions, because I feel like I've lost the interview. I'm back. I'm back as question master.
Are you on the hot seat?
It's I guess what are the goals at the moment that you have, that perhaps, or the future from a personal perspective? What have you got? What's on the agenda for the next couple of years?
From a personal side, I have just come back from 3 months off, so I feel like I can't really say, to have time off and have that, time to myself.
But you didn't have that reset to then get back into something that isn't a reset.
Yeah, exactly. So. But, I think for me, it's just being able to have that, just being able to continue having that freedom, I guess, to just focus on myself and, that flexibility, and to just stick with my routine. I feel like over the last 3 months, I've managed to kind of build a healthy habit, which I am planning on sticking to. We are locked in this year. I think everyone's sick of me saying that I'm locked in this year, but I really am. I really want to focus on being the best version of myself, physically.
But don't you think that means you're able to be the best version of yourself here as well?
Yeah.
So
actually,
absolutely. You're able to give more.
Yeah, I like
from that position, in terms of you're coming in refreshed, you're coming in excited, enthusiastic. It's not like keeping that balance between, if you let business overpower, then it changes who you are to a certain degree, or what you are on that day. So keeping that, what did you say, tuned in?
Locked in.
Keeping that locked in state is hugely important to get you the best out of you here, isn't it? I think that's
I feel like it all starts with us, and I always say you can't pour from an empty cup. So I feel like being able to get me into that fit and healthy state, physically and mentally, has definitely changed who I am, and also how I'm gonna lead the team kind of over the next few years. So.
Yeah, I think, I mean, before you ask me the question, but for me, I think it is that. Actually the goals, they still stay stretched and they still stay bigger, but they're very much around keeping that handle on, that kind of work-life. We talk about work-life balance a lot of the times, but certainly keeping that handle on time outside of business. And I feel like that keeps, having that time away keeps the energy for here and what we can achieve here. And and genuinely seeing this business now turn into something where it could have a bigger impact. And I think that's the bit for me, is that the legacy piece really is not legacy necessarily for me, but legacy for the business, which would be to really reinvest into the community, not just locally in Stoke and Newcastle, but widen that, as we hopefully set up pods and branches outside of where we are now. We have an impact there, and I think it was always the plan. I think the measure of our success as a business is the measure of how much impact we actually have in non-accountancy related world, in the community that's around us, and how many lives we can have an impact in. For me, that's a massive part of the next 5 years is really sort of trying to grow that, because that I think I always, in my eyes, always set the business up. That Unparalleled piece was always about the people. So we talk a lot today about our clients and our team, but the community in which that serves is so vital to using your success as a force for good in a kind of like a giving way, which was never, it's not a selfish thing, it's not a money thing, it's not a wealth thing, it's just that you choose to do something that then has real tangible impact. So for me to see and be part of that over the next however many years, and see that develop is a huge thing that I want to see. And although it's a business goal, it's a personal thing to see that develop and see that continue to be pushed. And we're always a kind of business that keeps saying yes to charities and yes to things, but I think I'd really like to see that develop, as well as spending money in those charities, but also giving time as we get this time bit right, to use that time in the right way. So
yeah, we should certainly have that, that time in the future to be able to give back, not just, the monetary side of things. So, but like for me on the internal side, I also, in the next few years want to see the people around us grow, especially, the team that we've got upstairs, just kind of see their growth over the next few years. I'm really excited about that. I know that we've started, obviously, our all the lunch and learns that we do, all the education piece that we do with the team, and I know we've got lots of plans to do more of that this year and continue that, because I think that's been really successful to the growth of.
And I think it's really important as well that what we've learned as people, as individuals, we've always brought that back to the team. So where we've, done investment in our own health, well-being, and things, we've always been really focused on educating the team on that. Not necessarily us as, but we've brought experts in, and the team have been involved in doing things like yoga. We've had healing in the business. We've had, we've had a wellness coach for the last 3 years, probably now. So we really make sure that the resources that are available to us are equally as available to the team, so they learn from our learning and that side. I always think that's been a great thing that we've done. We've not just done it to tick a box to say that we're supportive and we're this. It's very much, we want that development. We want them to be the best version of themselves. Coming back to that point, so.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say exactly the same thing.
So to wrap up, because I think I'm probably.
I don't know how you're going to wrap up 10 years.
I think we could chat about this for a long time, but and I've really enjoyed. Like you say, we probably don't do it. We're not. I know maybe in comment we talk about some of the past and some of the highlights and some of the low points and different things, but you need low points to have high points, don't you? And I feel like so it's been really, really good to do that with you and chat about it. And I know you probably come in with a bit of anxiety of what's he going to ask me, what's he going to talk about? But
we haven't prepped for this, so this is very raw.
I think it was really important for it to just be off the cuff and see where it went, because I think the 10 years there's a lot of commonality in terms of what I've experienced in there, but also, as we've talked about, it's very individual as well, and how that felt and stuff. So, but it hopefully inspires the listener, the watcher, that if you apply yourself and if you have hard work and you have a great team and a good business partner, and people you've got each other's backs. But I think the biggest thing for me is that looking at the world through someone else's eyes can actually bring more success to your own life. Because you've actually helped somebody else achieve what they wanted to in their life. And I feel like that for us is the best message to leave this interview on, is that actually, you helping me be a better person and get into a life that's more balanced and supporting me on that. So, almost taking some of the tough ride out of it for me to be able to do that, and me hopefully doing the same for you, and being really appreciative of where you were and stuff, actually meant we both got the successes we wanted, and most importantly, Sempar became the business it is today. I feel like that's a really lovely point to leave it on. And just say sort of, you know, that gratitude piece for each other, and just say thank you for 10 years and hopefully many more to come.
No, thank you as well.
And the gratitude for that. And
high five.
Yeah, well done.
We got this.
So thank you everyone for listening.
Thanks,
hopefully
guys.
that inspires any budding entrepreneur out there to take a journey on. Also, you know, make sure you do it with the right people.
Yeah, exactly. And
So-
just remember that, you know, it is a journey.
Yeah.
Like, nothing's ever an overnight success, but,
That's it.
you know, we will get there.
Yeah. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you, guys.